We have a quick one today. We're going to be looking at a present king with future feet. What do I mean? Well, really what we're going to be looking at is a present infinitive, a verb that's a present infinitive that tells us something about a king. And then we're also going to look at an aorist subjunctive that tells us something about his feet. Let's begin by looking at 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 25, which is our subject text today. And I'm reading from the English Standard Version. For he must reign until he has put all his enemies under his feet. So this is an allusion to to the Psalm 110, verse 1, and it's an allusion, not an illusion. So it's a use of a common enough phrase that people would recognize the language. It's not a direct quote. It is directly quoted by Jesus in Matthew chapter 22, verse 44. But here we get an allusion to it. The audience in Corinth being made up largely of Jews living in Corinth, augmented by Gentile converts who've come to Christianity, would hear these words and recognize their source, Psalm 110, verse 1. Let's take a look at 1 Corinthians 15:25 in Koine. We'll break it into two parts. We'll look at them together. Degar auton basaleuein. So de, it is necessary for, or it is necessary to, and gar is for. So the verse begins with, for it is necessary. And the ESV and the NIV both say, he must, which captures the thought, right? But I like the specificity of the Koine. Degar, for it is necessary for, auton, him, it is necessary for him to do what? Basaleuein. Basaleuein is a present active infinitive. So an infinitive is an unqualified verb, right? It doesn't have a limit on it. It's to reign. It's not he reigns or she reigns or they reign or it reigns. It is to reign. For it is necessary for him to reign as a king reigns. Let's look at the second part, archi, until. So it's necessary for him to reign until something should happen. Huthe pantas tous ecthrus. Let's stop there for a moment. So who is a possessive pronoun, of him or his, all pantas tous ecthrus. So until all of his enemies, then we get this great little aorist subjunctive verb, they should be placed, or he should place, because he's the subject. It's not passive, so it's not that they should be placed. He should place all his enemies. Hupotus podas autu, under his feet. So it is necessary for him to reign until he should place all his enemies under his feet. Pretty awesome stuff. There are two verbs in the verse. Let's look at the verbs very carefully. Basaleuein, present active infinitive, because it's present tense, it's a continual action. It is necessary for him to reign continually. So it's not something that's going to begin at a future date. This reigning that Paul writes about almost 2,000 years ago is a continual reigning, something that he believes is already happening and would continue to happen until, which brings us to the second verb, they, from tifemi, which is an aorist active subjunctive, third person singular, until he should place or put all his enemies under his feet. So the one who reigns, who's a king, who was a king, is a king, and shall continue to be a king, continual basaleuein, continual reigning, shall place all his enemies under his feet. But the shall place is aorist, and we have two possibilities to look at the sort of the time aspect. So that either means that the placing under his feet will culminate at some point in the future, that will come to a conclusion during this reign, or there'll be a point in this reign where all at once he will place his enemies under his feet. The grammar leaves both possibilities open. It's going to be up to you to wrestle with it to decide which one you think is correct. But grammatically, let's look at the choice of this present infinitive and this aorist subjunctive in the verse, in this allusion, so that we see the picture that Paul intends to paint. He's telling us that the reigning has been happening, is happening now, and will continue to happen. How long will it continue to happen? Until either the culmination or the action of him placing all his enemies under his feet. So we now know about a present king who has been reigning, is reigning, and will continue to reign, and the future condition of his feet under which all his enemies will ultimately be placed. Pretty wild stuff. So Christ's reign, why does this matter for his audience then and today? The reign of Christ is not merely a future event. He could have indicated that with different grammatical choices, with a range of different grammatical choices. But he specifically chose this present infinitive, which tells us he wants his audience to understand that this reigning is an ongoing, continual reigning. He was reigning before, he's reigning now, and he will continue to reign. And the reigning will sort of be brought to a glorious day when every enemy, pantes, all enemies, pantes tous ecthrus, of him, he will place hupo to podos autou under his feet. Magnificent. Great stuff. If you found value in this short message today, I hope you will do me the great honor of hitting subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And until next time, Charis Kai Reina Humin, grace and peace to you.